and you think you're doing the right thing as a young mom, and you're being told so many things. Anyway, she ended up having severe seizures after that. Never ever again would I put anything into my kids. It wasn't the food at all. It was your mind and body connection and how your gut and your brain speak together. And so you're much better off preventing something by keeping well than you are trying to medicate against something. How is a doctor who's never met me, who knows my history whatsoever, doesn't know how I'm thinking, doesn't know what my current situation is in life, how can I trust them with a diagnosis? Being an avid reader, I dig deep into things, and I just basically got a book and started looking at the herbs and spices and foods that actually create good things happening in your body, natural remedies, natural healing. And yet, the main illnesses that we're getting are from the pharmaceuticals. Yeah. With working now, not just with herbs and medicine and plants and supplements, but also with your mind, your mindset. Mindset medicine in pain or that you need healing and or recalibrating. It might be migraines, it might be back pain, it might be muscular tension, it could be arthritis, it could be, gut issues, mainly gut issues because serotonin is made in the gut. Serotonin is your happy hormone. Even the music we listen to is powerful. Be able to connect with anybody and anywhere.
So this information's starting to come out, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think more people are starting to look.
I remember ages and when I was working in a job, from a no. But the fact is, we have this in everybody. Everybody's got it. We need to be teaching people that just to see with your own eyes, freedom of speech, which everything's getting closed down now. It's all getting closed water.
Well, you don't know, do you? You don't know what you don't know.
So, and when you know more, when you know better, you do better. But we all have to upset somebody because it means we've stood for something that's important to us.
You can't go through life without upsetting someone.
Yes. Well, I'm Dee. You know my name now. And yeah, I'm a hypnotherapist, a psychotherapist, mum of 2 girls, grandmother of 3 granddaughters, or have a home-based business while helping people with their mindset around mind-body connection to gut health, pain, or natural healing. What's it? No pets.
Sounds really interesting. Can't wait to talk to you about that. So we originally met at a property network for women. But I've never really had any property, so I was just there to meet people and should take quick buys really. But that's where we met, wasn't it? It was quite a few years ago now.
I was. Probably, I think it's probably 20, back end of 2018, beginning of 2019.
Yeah, I think the first one I went to was at was it Mile Cafe in Gloucester?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I probably met you there.
You will.
Of course, because we're both in business, to see each other at business networks, and
It's
told of us
over the years as well, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, so tell us more about how you got into the work that you do.
Well, it goes. I'll try and keep it as succinct as possible. 'Cause it goes back a long way, and years ago, when my youngest daughter was born, she had the normal childhood vaccinations. One, I wasn't as aware of things then as I am now, or things see that happened. And she had a severe reaction to that, those childhood vaccines. And I was careful not to give her one in particular because we've got epilepsy in the family, so it was said it wasn't advisable to have the whooping cough, so she never had that one. But it was the other ones. Um, and so when that happened, I started to go into a lot of research around pharmaceuticals, vaccinations, all of that kind of stuff. Because when we've got our babies, you know, we want them to have the best thing. We don't want to be stuffing them with rubbish. I don't, anyways. They come out pure and clean, and you just want to give them everything, eat the right things, that makes them healthy. And you think you're doing the right thing as a young mom, and you're being told so many things. Anyway, she ended up having severe seizures after that. She was in hospital, and she was put on another drug for these seizures. She had to take it every day for about a year. And following that, all her milestones that were actually way ahead of our time all just came crashing down. And she ended up with, eventually, after years and years of me going back and forward to school and saying there's something not right here, I eventually got a phone call at work saying they think there's something not quite right, and we need to do some kind of tests on Emma. Um, and so she finally had a diagnosis of dyspraxia, and I felt it all stems from that point because everything else beforehand, it's kind of all in place, no problems at all.
So you mean before the vaccine, not before the diagnosis?
Not before the vaccine, all her
It
milestones.
it was just overnight.
Yeah, overnight. And then when she went to school, it was kind of like, she would spend all the class time, making sure her book was straight and her ruler was there and her pencil was laid out. And she did so much going out spoiling out the window and all of that kind of stuff. But she wasn't really engaging. Well, and I think everybody who follows health and that kind of thing knows that dyspraxia is on the spectrum. It's neurological. Yeah, that's it. And so over time, she did develop coping strategies to cope, and she's she's doing okay. She's doing okay. She's great. She's got her daughter, brought her up. She's 15 now. Is my granddaughter. But all through that time, I've been doing a lot of work and digging and research on natural healing, natural health. Never ever again would I put anything into my kids. Um, and then even before then, I was diagnosed when I was 8 with what was called a nervous tummy, but it's IBS is what the name they give it now. Um, and all throughout my childhood, I had IBS and gut issues and health issues and having to take things, to help me in the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. And so again, I went through like right up until probably until my mid-30s, 35, when it finally hit me that there was something with my mindset. It's like stress related because I was basically limiting my food completely because it was one thing after another. I felt that I was telling myself I couldn't eat it. But actually, it was more to do with what was I thinking when I was eating? How was I stressed? And then my brain would connect the stress with the food, mistakenly with the food. And it wasn't the food at all. It was your mind and body connection and how your gut and your brain speak together. So that was another big reason why I came into the when I got my hypnotherapy diploma and my psychotherapy, I chose to work in the area of chronic health and the mind body connection. And I wrote my book on that as well back in 2018.
Yeah, that's fascinating because when I had children, I didn't even think about vaccines. It was just what you did. And when I think it was the health visit, I said, "Oh," she made some comment about some people not getting them, and I was like, "Oh, not really thought about it." So, of course, I went to talk to my family. My grandma just went get them because she remembered polio and all the childhood diseases and stuff from when she was a child. She knew that you know what I mean, if you didn't, but they had helped to get rid of those. So I didn't even question it until, well, when 2020 happened. And
Yes.
that's when I went, hang on a minute. And I think I'm not totally against medication, but I do sit and think twice about anything. Think there's natural things that you can take and that can help you before you go to the doctors. And I just avoid the doctors like the plague. I have done for years, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's true. And the thing is as well that we've been brought up in the kind of like the last 100 years, really, because previous to um, pharmaceuticals being for heavily invested in society, people didn't go to the doctors that much. They knew the natural law of how the body can heal itself if you give it the right things. And so you're much better off preventing something by keeping well than you are trying to medicate against something, because all the drugs that are produced, they are there to manage symptoms. There's not one drug out there that cures anything. They just manage symptoms. That's all they do.
And they cause more side effects, don't they?
Well, and the side effects need another drug to manage the symptoms of the drug that you've just taken. And then it's knocking your body out of synchronicity, because everything we put into our body is synchronized. It's a little bit like supplements as well. Supplements are great if you're not having a good diet. But when we take anything in our body, it's going to have a knock-on effect with something else that's going on in our body. And so we've always got to create that equilibrium and that balance inside our body to make it work properly. It's a bit like, we don't have these anymore. There's not many people have got proper old-fashioned watches where you open the back of a watch and all the cogs are there. And if you touch one cog, no matter how tiny it is, it's going to have a huge effect on the mechanism of that watch. It's not going to work properly. And everything else can stop and get clogged up. And then as soon as you stop touching that thing, it starts to go round again and everything else. So we don't realize the tiniest change in our body can actually have a huge effect on the rest of our body, because we're not a mechanism, we're an organism.
Yeah. We're not in touch with our bodies, are we, really? We're not in touch with, like, any of that anymore, like our ancient sort of evolution, if you like, for want of a better way of putting it.
That's it. It's the ancient wisdom that was brought through families, through generations, culturally, how to heal and how to be in sync with what your body's telling you. Your body's telling you something. So if you've got a bad gut and it's telling you that there's something wrong, your body, I think what happens is we've been brought up in that culture of we have to kill pain. What? That's why we've got painkillers, right? We have to kill the pain. However, the pain is there telling you something. It's the message from your body asking you to look at something that you're doing or not doing. And so if we get back into that wisdom of listening to our bodies and say, okay, what is it? Well, now instead of, I've got this pain, I'm going to go to the doctors and find out what it is. How is a doctor who's never met me, doesn't know my history whatsoever, doesn't know how I'm thinking, doesn't know what my current situation is in life, how can I trust them with a diagnosis? It's like shooting in the dark. So we know
You
about
only get 10 minutes as well, don't you?
exactly. And can you imagine if he got up late and he's gone through traffic and he's not thinking, he's fed up with the world, or she's fed up with the world at the moment? You know what I mean? You're not going to get full attention. You're not going to get somebody who's fully invested in listening to what you've got to say, So,
Where did you learn about what sort of things to do in terms of mental health and all that wisdom?
well, a lot of it was through my own trial and error, getting booked. and things like that. When I first started out, it was just, I've been an avid reader. I dig deep into things, and I just basically got a book and started looking at the herbs and spices and foods that actually create good things happening in your body. So things that heal rather than harm. Then I went into naturopath, being a naturopath, being homeopathy. I didn't finish the course, but I did like 2 years. So I know it about then, all the tinctures and things like that. And then went into, the organic food and plant medicine for mushrooms and the good old one that everybody knows about that doctors used to have in their medicine cabinets but can't have anymore. Um,
I'm trying to guess.
yeah, it begins with C. Am I allowed to say on here? I'm allowed to say?
Yeah.
Cannabis.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's really interesting actually because back before I started my business, I used to work in a charity with brain injury survivors, so they'd either had a stroke or they'd been in some horrific accident. And there was a lot of sort of solicitors that we worked with who were around, and they used to put conferences on, and they had a conference, and it was when medicinal cannabis had just been legalized, and that was really interesting what they said about it. Yeah, yeah. So interested to hear what you've got to say about the dreaded C that you didn't want to mention.
Yeah, that we're not allowed to mention you. And it's kind of like, with all this surveillance at the moment, you think, well, no. But um, every single medical professional tried a bottle of cannabis on their show years ago. And it all goes back to follow the money, you know. When it came that pharmaceuticals were going to be the way to go, and it was going to be the way that we were going to, you know, take over our health, um, then it wasn't allowed to be used as a medication any longer. And the fact is, it's the most widely tested medicinal preparation, if you like,
Yeah.
on the planet by thousands and thousands of people. The most widely tested, and the results are phenomenal. And do you know what?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, do you know what they said in this conference thing? It was like an event with a speaker, and this actually said that cannabis was only illegal because it got tagged on as something else. That was being made illegal because of the harms of that drug, and they just tagged it on for at the last minute or something. So it wasn't ever proven that it was harmful or anything. They just tagged it on with something else.
What's right? Yeah. And it's not actually harmful, but you have to respect it. Um, you know,
Well, like any drugs, plants.
yeah, exactly. They're even doing, and they have been for a long, long time now, using psilocybin mushroom to treat depression or anxiety. And they're doing that within the medical world. You have to do it in a way that they're doing things like micro dosing and things like that. And lots of people are getting huge, huge benefits from it. However, if you went out into the woods today, in the middle of September,
You might
get surprise. And you're not what's wrong, because this is a time of year when you find them, and people are using them for medicinal purposes. Well, and so really, it's about respecting the plant, knowing what it's capable of, and knowing how to use it. But we've had that taken out of us because it's being classed as wrong to mention natural remedies, natural healing. And yet, the main illnesses that we're getting are from the pharmaceuticals. I've never been healthier until I stopped taking pharmaceuticals. That is the dog honest truth. Never been healthier. So now it's all the water, where I'm never be without my machine now for the water. It's just been an absolute game changer when it comes to healing, gut, bowel issues, all of that kind of stuff. Absolute game changer. And then all of the other things that I've always used as part of my medicine cabinet, you know. And so since I stopped taking any form of pharmaceutical, I have never been healthier, you know, and I've not had as much of a sniffle in the last 4 years. Well, that's without anything, including the experimental therapeutic intervention of 2020.
Well, 2021, wasn't it? It's when they brought that out, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that made me really suspicious was the fact that it was everybody to have it, even if they'd had the thing that it was supposed to prevent. It was like, this makes no sense what you're doing. And Lord, they were trying to force people to have that. And that's when I started thinking, well, yeah. I mean, I must have been suspicious, do you know what I mean, before? Because I just don't like going to the doctors. And I always feel anxious when I'm waiting to go to the doctors. I don't like the whole experience. So I'm try and look after myself and, you know, yeah, I don't know as much about it as you do.
Whereas people know more than me as well, so we're all at different levels. But you know, as long as you know somebody that can, you know, we're all an expert in different areas of our lives. We've all got wisdom in different areas. So as long as you know somebody that you can go to and say, you know, this is what's happening. What would you suggest? What do you think would work? I can do a diagnostic on people. You know, I've got the diagnostic tool. I've got a new diagnostic tool for IBS. So if anybody wanted that, then they can come and, you know, have that quick session with me, and it would help to look at what are their triggers within the mind-body connection and all of that kind of thing. So there's a diagnostic tool for that, and you're diagnosed with the homeopathy as well. Because everyone, you know, you can go to Boots or another health food shop and get like your little preparations. You can get your rescue remedies and things like that. But when you're wanting to treat somebody who is a unique organism, like I said, we all unique organisms, and one preparation might work for somebody, it might not work for somebody else, because you've got a different temperament, you've got a different body temperature, you've got completely different, you know, ways of being. Some people like hot food, some people like cold food, some people like, you know, there's all kinds of different things that come in. And when you do the diagnosis, it brings it down to what's called a genius remedy. And that remedy is purely for that person. And it might not be the same as somebody else. So for instance, you might take the frankincense for grief or something like that. You know, somebody else might need another oil or another remedy that would work better for them than that would. You know, some people say lavender makes you relax. Some people hate the smell, so it would give them a headache maybe. So you have to really work with the person, the whole person, where they're at the moment, what's happened previously, probably the last 6 months beforehand, where were they then, what's brought them to this point. And there's so many different natural ways of working now, not just with herbs and medicine and plants and supplements, but also with your mind, your mindset. Mindset medicine and frequency medicine, wow, is getting really, really big. Really coming into its own now, because we are frequency beings.
Do you want to say a bit more about that? Because I don't know what that is, I don't think.
Frequencies, okay. Well,
obviously I know what frequency.
yeah.
I haven't heard it in that context before.
All right, okay. So, every thought is a frequency, okay? So, because our bodies work on chemical and electrical interactions, so in your brain, you've got like all your hormones and chemicals running around, but you've also got what's called the synapses, which is the space between the neurons in your brain, and it needs an electrical charge to get across the synapse, the gap. And so every thought we think has an energetic frequency behind it. So it's like you can go into a room. We were just talking earlier about going into a room of people, and you can actually feel the tension between certain people. Yeah. You can go into a room feeling really happy, and you can just have a negative vibe about somebody that you've not even spoken to, because the energetic aura has an effect on your aura. No? If you go into a busy shopping centre, your aura can be upset by too many people and you just want to get out. So this is all about, this is all about
That's
frequency.
my husband. He doesn't like being in crowds.
That's it. So that's just his frequency. His frequency is set to a certain frequency, and we all have a matching frequency. So when we resonate with somebody, when we like somebody, when we identify with somebody, when we speak to someone and say, that she's really nice, or he's really nice, or whatever, and you just get a good vibration about them because you've got an energetic frequency match. What? Every frequency's got a matching frequency. That's why you attract people. And you can actually use devices now that help with the frequency. The whole world has got a frequency, and it's based on scalar waves. And our bodies work on scalar waves. So that is why you can think about somebody, and then the phone rings, and that's that person that you've just been thinking about. Because you've sent out a vibrational match when it comes back to you. What? So all the waves go through. So have you never heard?
Never heard of that before.
No.
See, I've heard of that sort of that connection kind of thing.
What?
I've never heard it called that.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's a frequency match. They did experiment. You'll have heard this before. Probably you have. I mean, maybe a lot of your listeners and listen to this might have heard of it. But they did an experiment many years ago. I'll mention two of the experiments that they did. The first one I'm going to mention is when it comes to frequency, with a violin in one room and a violin in another room. And when they tuned the C string of the violin in that room, the C string of that violin in the other room began to vibrate. That's the frequency match, yeah? When you get the frequency match, an opera singer who hits the high note and can smash a glass, the note is resonating with the vibrational frequency of the glass, because everything vibrates. Every single cell is vibrating, and it shatters the glass. So that's one way of knowing about frequency and how we interact and match. And then I'm sure it was back in the 60s now, probably early 60s, this guy decided to do an experiment, and he put a group of students, he built a bunker, huge bunker, deep underground, and he had them out of the ability to have, he obviously pumped fresh air in, whatever, but they weren't in connection with the vibrancy of the planet. Really, they were just down in the biggest bunker, and they were isolated for quite a while. When their mental health went down, their focus went down. A lot of them screamed to get out, didn't want to be in there. And they monitored these students over a period of weeks and months. And all of the negative things that were happening to these students were all instantly solved when they came back up. Because we are in vibration with the frequencies of the planet. It's a fascinating subject. I'm just doing it in very, very simplistic terms there. But the research is really fascinating of how that works. And because of your mind, the mind-body connection that I work with around pain and chronic illness, it's fascinating to me that that created physical illnesses in their bodies. They got things like psoriasis, they got major migraines, they got all sorts of things. They got anxiety and panic attacks and things that they would never have had before. And all of that happened because they were out of alignment with the frequencies of the planet. So if our um if our frequency and the Schumann resonance, basically, that's what it's called, the Schumann resonance of the planet. If that peaks, you get more people feeling anxious and out of sync with themselves and with each other. Um, and that's been going wild, over the last few years as well, for that frequency. So there are devices that you can actually mitigate against all of that. And you can use a device. I've got several of them now, that these devices, and it's called a Healy device. And you basically attach it with electrodes to your wrists or to a part of your body that might be in pain or that you need healing. And or recalibrating, should I say, what I'm allowed to say here? Well, recalibrate your frequency. And then when your cells are vibrating at the right frequency, then the problem in the body goes away. So,
Really interesting.
so that's
What that reminds me of.
it will.
So I'm going back a few years to when just after I had a baby.
It won't.
And one day I'd gone in the shower, right, and I'd left him sleeping. He was asleep. And while I was in the shower, I try not to be too graphic here, but I started leaking.
It will.
I had milk spraying all over the place, and I was like, "Oh, that's odd." So I got out the shower when I was ready and went to check on him, and he was actually crying. I didn't hear him. My body knew that he was hungry.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
But it's just fascinating, isn't it?
I mean, it just shows you that we just don't know very much about anything really, do we?
Yeah, that's it. It's so, so true. Your body knows. And there's a really good saying, and the body holds the score. So any trauma, any upset, any disconnection, any misalignment will create condition within your body. So it might be a skin issue, it might be migraines, it might be back pain, it might be muscular tension, it could be arthritis, it could be, gut issues, mainly gut issues, because serotonin is made in the gut. Serotonin is your happy hormone. And so when you're out of alignment, then all these things start to happen. And rather than go to the doctors and get a pill to try and put that right, we need to be sitting down and going, what is happening? What's physically going on here at the moment? Is my relationship good? Are things going on at work that I'm stressing about? Am I putting myself under pressure? All of this kind of stuff. And when we sit and we're trying to recalibrate, am I in alignment with myself? Are my thoughts, what I speak, and what I physically do all lining up? Or am I saying something and not doing it? Am I thinking it or speaking it and not doing it? Am I doing something that I don't really believe in? These have all got to line up. When you line up, then your organism, your body, starts to work really, really well. And the more goodness you give it in what you listen to, even the music we listen to is harmful, depending on, what the words are, what the tone is, So we need to listen to uplifting, positive music. We need to be speaking nice things to ourselves, good things to ourselves, that our worst critics. We need to be saying good things to ourselves, and we need to be following the message that we're giving out to other people. If I give out a message that I believe in natural healing, then I'm not in alignment if I go to the doctors and go and get a pill for it. I'm not in alignment. Everything that I put out in my business, whether it's the water, whether it's the mindset work, whether it's the new product I've got on at the moment, the visceral fat burner, all of that has to align with what I believe in. I will not promote anything that's not in my heart and that's not going to help people, because, like I say, I wouldn't put nasty things in my child. I'm not going to put nasty things in me. Why would I put nasty things into other people? Well, make sure that everything's in alignment with what we do, and that's the way we should be all living. But hard when people have had this indoctrination so many years. It's really difficult to get people to see a different side.
Because they just say things like, that's not got any evidence. Well, the evidence is if it works, isn't it?
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
the thing is, because the reason why there isn't a lot of evidence is because the pharmaceutical companies know there's no money in it. If it's a plant, it can't be patented, right? So if it can't be patented, they're not going to waste money on tests to test for its efficacy and its effectiveness. That's the only reason it hasn't been tested, not because it doesn't bloody well worth. You know, we're just not going to test it because it's not financially worth their effort. Spend thousands on testing it to say, yes, it works, if they can't make any money out of it. Look, it's like flushing money down the toilet for them.
It would be beneficial to, like, say, the NHS, though, wouldn't it? So you'd think that they would do that sort of testing?
Well,
That would be a cheap way of healing people, wouldn't it?
the thing is, the NHS is a business. They're not going to make money out of a plant. So no, it wouldn't be beneficial for the NHS at all, because it's business. It's based on the two in bed with the pharmaceutical companies.
They are, but they shouldn't really be.
No,
It's not supposed to be a business, is it?
no.
It's supposed to be a national health service.
It was set up to be a national health service, and it doesn't mean it's free, because it's not free. It's free. People think the NHS is free. It's free at the point of use. That's it. We paid for it in our taxes. That's what you pay your national insurance for. We pay for your schooling. We pay for your health care. That's what your NI is for. Not free. Paying for it out of your wages every month. It's free at the point of use. Well, if it's no longer free at the point of use, then what have we been paying for all these years? Well, and why not treat ourselves?
It's interesting because I think with the internet, the rise of the internet, if you like, and the availability of, you're able to connect with anybody anywhere, so this information's starting to come out, isn't it?
Well,
I think more people are starting to look for alternative viewpoints and alternative ways of living.
yeah. And yes, you're right. Natural healing is blown up over the last 4 years because of the experiences that people have had with, and people want to have choice. The fact that over that period between 2020 and 2024, where we are now, the fact that people are being coerced, manipulated, virtually forced, threatened, blackmailed.
Well, half of the world, it was forced on them.
Yeah, blackmailed into having it. We can't work here if you don't get this. You can't. That goes against the Nuremberg Code of full consent of the person. Nobody, if they don't consent and they've got choice over their body, I should have choice over what goes into my body. And if I don't trust this particular thing, then I should be able to say no to that.
Totally agree. And that is the cornerstone of care. It's the right to refuse.
Yeah. And GPs should be standing by their Hippocratic oath. And the Hippocratic oath is, do no harm. Now, if you are forcing somebody, that's the first bit of harm because you're causing them emotional pain, right? You're harming them emotionally and psychologically by threatening somebody. So where was the Hippocratic Oath during that period of time?
It was
Do
horrifying.
it was absolutely awful. And things that are happening now appears it's not going to get any better anytime soon. In fact, it might even be looking like it's going to get a whole lot more complex.
What are you referring to? Is it this assisted suicide or whatever they're calling it?
There's the assisted suicide. There's the new legislation around making certain things mandatory. Certain preparations mandatory. It's still, I don't believe it's ever been taken off the agenda. Have that as a thing. I mean, the digital ID is a form of having something inserted into your body that you don't want. Like all your information's either going to be on the palm of your hand or your forehead or wherever you want to put it, and people can just go and pay for that food or pay for this or that's going to have everything about you inserted into your body. You know, I don't want that. I don't want to have something under my skin. I wouldn't even have the implant for the contraceptive pill put into my body. I just wasn't going to have it. Um, and the thing is, the younger people are coming up. I mean, I'm now 65 years old, right? I I've got like all the wisdom of a lifetime. These young people are not. They don't have that, and it's up to people like us to educate younger people coming forward about what they're.
It's really difficult though, isn't it? Because we're being sort of undermined as older women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get to a certain age and just, oh, what do you know? You're just an old hag or whatever. There is ageism in society.
It's been there. Ageism's been there a long, long time. I remember ageism when I was working in a job, um, and and how they would look at the age and it would just go in the bin. The application forms would go in the bin, and I think in the West, mainly in the West, the culture in the West is wisdom from women who are in their 50s and over is not seen as valuable. Whereas if you go to places like Africa and other Asian cultures, wisdom from your elders is you're looked up to because you've lived the life, because you've learned the lessons, because you can pass on and make life a little bit easier for other people coming forward, your family. Then it's you. The parents teach their children to respect their grandparents and their great grandparents. It doesn't happen here. Don't know why. It just doesn't. And that's really, really sad because there is so much wisdom, female wisdom, especially because we're the nurturers, we're the carers, we're the birthers. And that's really, really important to be able to pass these things on. And you're not trying to be big and you're not trying to be clever. You're informing them. It's kind of like, when we were younger, we would have loved to. People say, "Oh, they've just got to go through their own challenges and learn their own lessons or whatever." Sometimes it's important for younger people to have the guidance. If you know there's a train coming on that track, you wouldn't say, "Oh, let them go and find out for themselves." That'd be too late. You know what I mean? If a train's coming down the track and I haven't seen it, I would like somebody to tell me to get off the truck. I wouldn't want them to know something and me end up getting, my head chopped off or whatever.
And I think that it's partly the breakdown of the family and the fact that so people are moving away from where we're born and stuff like that as well. Yeah, I think that's having an effect, isn't it, on families? It is. Families are under attack.
Yeah. Families are under attack. The female wisdom of the ages is under attack. You know, women, they get to a certain age, and if they're not slim, pretty, whatever, young, then we value the wrong things. We value the wrong things, and really it's about coming back to community. And I'm seeing more and more people wanting to have community around them again, which is really nice to see. And it's been one of the things that I've wanted for a long, long time. Is I've wanted my little cottage, my little wood hut in the forest, a piece of land where I can grow my own medicines, grow my own food, and have a community that comes along, helps the harvest, and basically can take home their food for the week because they put their sweat equity into growing it, and they can then go and know that what are they eating? Nothing's been sprayed on it. It they've put their love and effort into that, and that's where we should be at. And that's real wealth.
We've lost connection to our food as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
We
it
have.
comes from.
That's right. Supermarkets now, it's like, whoa, it kind of like we've in this last 40 odd minutes or something, we've basically kind of put the nail on the head of all the things that have just these knock-on effects that have happened when you lose connection to yourself, to your land, to food, to your health. Then we end up where we are, and we're in a dying system now. That's why it's so extremely difficult out there for so many people. Yeah, the beast is dying. It's thrashing around, and when a animal's dying, a beast is dying, the roar gets louder. Final cry is probably the loudest, and that's what's happening. And while all that's going on, we need to be looking at, well, what can we do in our corner to make life better for other people? And what wisdom can we pass on to other people around what keeps us healthy, keeps us well, what keeps us mentally agile, what keeps us knowing and seeing and using our intuition and using good old fashioned common sense, what's going on.
Not that common though, is it?
Not that common, no. But the fact is, we have this, in everybody. Everybody's got it. And we need to be teaching people that just to see with your own eyes what's going on, and not be too let down when you realize you've actually believed something that's not been true.
I think intuition is so important. I don't think we're encouraged enough to listen to that feeling and intuitive thoughts, because it's your subconscious telling you. You know what I mean? All that ancient wisdom is in your cells from you. You inherit them through your birth, like either you call it a clothing. What it means through your bloodline. That's it.
Your
Do you know what
bloodline.
I mean? You inherit all that wisdom, and you know stuff and you don't know why you know it, but that's how the species has evolved.
True. What? It's just inherent, isn't it, in your body? I've often said, I know this, but I don't know where I learned it from. I don't know how I know it, but I just know that thing to be the thing. And you've just explained it. It's it's in your bloodline. It's your birthright and all these things, and it's your birthright to live free on this planet as much as possible. To have free choice, freedom of speech, which everything's getting closed down now. We're all getting closed down, and it's why many of us are rebelling against that.
Yeah.
Whether resistance.
I mean, the government doesn't know what's best for us. They just
No.
won't.
And they don't care.
I want to be able to make my own choices. I was born to be told what to do. I was born to live my life how I see fit, which you know what I mean?
So, yeah.
And obviously, you want to take advice from other people and listen to other people's wisdom, but we don't want to be told what to do by the government. Definitely no.
They don't have your best interests at heart. They're there for their own agenda, whatever you want to call it. That's what they're there for. But really, it's about every person, you know, looking out for their own families, their own friends, on their own circle, their own tribe, and living a life where you do no harm, you know, do no harm.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
You- And just stay on good terms with people, you know. Don't bitch about people behind their back.
It's a challenge.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Not that I'm a bitchy person, but I do think that
No.
is a challenge.
Yeah.
Understanding where someone else is coming from and
Yeah.
respecting each other's needs and wants and stuff like that when you're moving along. Yeah, my
Everybody's story is different, isn't it? It kind of like if I had a different story, I might be thinking like the people that went to get the job or, you know, do things that I don't do. If I had a different story, I might be doing, or I might have been there. And when we can put that in place, then we have a bit more compassion for people, you know? What was
it was something that was negative that happened to your daughter, but it's actually informed the rest of your life. It's had a massive impact then, hasn't it?
That's right, yeah. And even my own bullying at school, when I was bullied at school, and you know, I never told my mum what was happening. So she was wondering why on earth I was constantly taking so long in the bathroom because I couldn't go to the toilet. I was, you know, she was keep giving me stuff to make me go and that kind of thing. And it kind of, my body was holding everything in, all of that stress and anxiety. Yeah. And that informed me for the rest of my life as well, up to that point. But I wasn't informed enough to stop the pharmaceuticals until the thing happened with my daughter.
Well, you don't know, do you? You don't know what you don't know.
When you know more, when you know better, you do better.
I used to say that a lot. I haven't said that for ages.
What? So what? That's really it. So this is just who I am, and you know, I like to think that I'm on good terms with. If I can leave this planet being on good terms with more people that I've upset, I'll be a happy person. But we all have to upset somebody because it means we've stood for something that's important to it.
You can't go through life without upset.
Yeah.
But it's when you do it on purpose. Thing that you shouldn't do.
It's what the intention is. Yes, we can unintentionally hurt somebody, unintentionally hurt someone.
And you upset people because you're just doing your own thing and they don't like it. So,
Well,
yeah.
and then that's their story. So it's more to do with their healing than you. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Dee, I've really enjoyed talking to you today.
It's been fascinating.
Thank you for coming on my podcast.
You're welcome. Lovely, and I'm sharing success with it because it's brilliant. You're doing some great stuff, Kelly. So
Thank you. If the viewers would like to find you, where's the best place? Where should they look?
they can look for me on my Instagram, and my TikTok, on the Facebook page. So I'm just Dee Twentyman.
Yeah, the
Orange
by
Bible.
Googling your name.
Yeah, and on Instagram it's Resonance Holistics, and on TikTok it's Wellness Warrior Mentor.
Excellent. I shall put some links in the comment.
Oh, where? Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much.